Oh, Seamus, man. Here we are again. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into another Celtics Talk Weekly Postgame Show. I'm your host, Haytayan. Joining with me is my co-host, Seamus Zarlingo. And joining us shortly here around 10 o'clock is Nick Franco. Guys, the Boston Celtics lose their second matchup in the NBA Cup, this time to the Orlando Magic. The Celtics now 4-6 on the season. They fall to 1-1 in the NBA Cup, the 2025-2026 NBA Cup, that is, or I guess 2025 NBA Cup, right? Because it's just
there's no involvement next year.
Yeah, there is.
Next year.
Kind of cool. I kind of like it. So the 2025 NBA Cup, 123-110 was your final score tonight from the Kia Center, excuse me.
Oh, now.
That was the
hard
Boston
Northeastern accent.
My goodness. I try to hide that as much as I can. Seamus, listen, we were on here, Wednesday against Washington, and we were talking about a lot of the stuff we saw tonight. Obviously Boston came out, they struggled to start, but we're going to jump into all that. Your initial thoughts, reactions, and takeaways on tonight's loss.
Much of the same once again. Can I just read you? Well, you've already read this text, I'm sure, in the group chat, but I'll just read for everybody else. The text I sent halfway through this game when the Celtics were down, but coming back, right? It was a moment where I believe both fan bases equally disliked their team. The Magic couldn't get anything going on offense. The Celtics had given up a 38-point quarter at that point. But it's the same-ish every single night. It's Brown makes a lot of attempts, doesn't do much in the playmaking department. You have to give him credit for what he can get on his own, scoring-wise. It's really the bright spot the Celtics own right now, is especially what Jaylen Brown's doing, but not really getting much going for others. Minot, he's always efficient with his simple looks. They're always coming off cuts. An open look from the corner, a lead out in transition, always efficient with those looks. Pritchard, he's cooking every now and then, but again, not much in the playmaking category, not much in the playmaking department quite yet. Derek White, it's bad attempt after bad attempt after bad attempt. This is not a slump, folks. It's just a play style in which Derek White is playing with right now that's affecting his game and affecting his shooting numbers. Did not shoot well at all tonight. Simons, simply not as involved as he should be in this offense. I don't understand what the plan is with him. I'm sure we'll talk about that more later. Hauser, he's a once in a blue moon type of guy. Most of the time, it's the moon isn't blue, unfortunately. But after that, you have Garza, Walsh, Gonzalez, all good energy guys, but all lacking the skill to really make a real impact within the rotation. They're all just energy players who complement guys with skill well. And it's the same thing every single night. It's these guys are doing what they normally do efficiently, but they're not all the way there. And then there are other guys who are not contributing to the level of production in which you'd expect consistently. And it's culminating in these weird performances where the Celtics, they go down by a ton early and they give up a 38-point quarter to start the game. Then they come back and it looks like, oh, here come the Celtics, but they can't quite get over that hump. And then when it comes to crunch time, when Jaylen Brown's going one-on-one against everybody in Orlando's offense doesn't look good at all either. I'll say that. No. But they did have a little bit more of a flow, more options at the end of the game. We saw that come out. The Magic clearly beat the Celtics on that end of the floor, beat their defense. The Celtics defense looked horrendous at moments in this game. But yet the offensive end, at the end of the game, the Celtics went completely cold offensively. Jaylen Brown couldn't make anything. Jaylen Brown was trying to do everything. And then defensively, couldn't close out on guys, couldn't get up into guys' grills. The Magic were getting every single switch they wanted to. And that's a theme of this team. We from years past, we've looked at all those teams and went, wow, this team's so versatile that you can't switch against, and you can switch against anybody, essentially, if you're the Celtics. Not anymore. It's not like that anymore. And we're seeing it within these games on film, but also the results at the end of this one. This one, in the past, the Celtics, at the very least, if the Celtics were to lose this game in the past, it might be by a 1-point margin, a 2-point margin, couple of possessions, right? This one, it wasn't even close at the end when it was tied midway through the fourth quarter, and we thought we had a legitimate shootout on our hands at the end, or for as much of a shootout as these two teams could actually post in front of us. But much of the same, the Celtics, I expect them, weirdly enough, I expect the Celtics to win on Sunday now after tonight. Right. But tonight's game, it was really much of the same inconsistencies. First quarter looked terrible. Second, third quarter looked great. Fourth quarter looked terrible once again. 38 points in the first for the Magic, 39 in the fourth for the Magic. The Celtics, they can just eliminate those quarters. They're actually a decent basketball team, but the problem is the Celtics can't eliminate those quarters, and that's why we had the conversation we did last post game of the Celtics slotting in somewhere. I mean, they're somewhere around the mid tier of the NBA, but they're likely now leaning on the side of negative more so than positive, right? That's where this team's at.
I agree. I mean, the unfortunate thing is, like what you said, it's a lot of the same. I mean, it's a lot of what we saw or what we've seen through the first 10 games now. I mean, 10 games, I mean, we're in the first 10. I mean, the power rankings are going to drop for the NBA.com now. It's like that's where we're at. Like, we are 10 games in. We are, that would be interesting actually to see where we're at. I'm excited to see that.
Let's 15 to 20. If there's a poly market for this, no free ads, folks. No free ads for poly market. But if there is, I would say we're probably 15 to 20 range. It's most likely. Right now, where in that range, I'd be very surprised if we're 15th. But that's relativity. So you could look at other teams and go,
exactly. But I think for tonight, we were on here on Wednesday, me and you, Seamus, talking just like we're talking right now. And what did we say? We said, well, that sloppy start, if that's not Washington, do they win this game? Yeah, well, folks, here is your example of, yes, exactly. Boston shot themselves in the foot. They played a very stellar 2 quarters of basketball in the second and third, those middle portions of the night, which we'll take a look at in the lead tracker. And then eventually the fourth quarter. I mean, it's funny, too, because a Josh Minott turnover with about 3:40 left in this game absolutely just derailed the Celtics in their any momentum they had going forward. Turned into a layup 4-point game. Next thing you know, you blink and the Celtics are back 13, playing from behind in garbage time. And I think, again, you're right. There's not a lot of positives. Jaylen Brown and his offensive ability to score really whenever he wants against whoever he wants is the beaming light out of Boston right now. Josh Minott put together another stellar game, I thought. Rough Cada game. White looked like he can contribute. I think like the best thing we got tonight was a Peyton Pritchard game. Finally, it's like Pritchard, and then there are these really weird rotations we saw tonight that were really sloppy from Joe, and I think a lot of that is him trying to figure stuff out, but I think a lot of that is there's no cohesiveness in these lineups. It's a lot of on the fly trying things out and hoping it works. I mean, I saw a lineup out there of Pritchard, Ugo, Jordan Walsh, Luka Garza, and I forget the last guy, Hauser. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, is this a lineup? Is this where we're at right now? To think of where we were a year ago, this is who we're playing. So I thought it was a terribly coached game yet again from Mazzulla. It's been a common trend now this season of really him looking like a chicken with his head cut off, because I don't think he knows what to do with this team and this core we have. And yeah, I mean, it is exactly what it's been for the Celtics. You win a game and you come out and you lay a stinker on the road. But let's take a look at the lead tracker tonight, Seamus. And again, I mean, we kind of summed it up here, but the Celtics tonight, it was I mean, it was blue. I mean, it was a sea of blue too. I mean, the sea is blue and they stayed true. I mean, Orlando really just throughout the entire course of the night, Boston came out. They looked decent here, led by as many as 5 in the start of the game here, which was our largest lead of the night, actually. And then Orlando took that lead, and they really never looked back. Boston was able to take a 2-point lead early on in that fourth quarter, and then just at the midway point, it was back and forth with around 8 lead changes over there. And then it was just all Orlando after that Josh Minott turn. You can actually see where it happened. It's actually really funny. The last bit of green, if you could zoom in, I would zoom in on it. But that last bit of green, the turnover occurs at the first big blue drop. That is exactly when Minott turned the ball over. And there was just absolutely no looking back. Again, largest lead of the night for Orlando, 16, 7 times tied. 11 was the longest run. And then again, 8 lead changes in this matchup tonight. Seamus, I mean, we've talked a lot about quickly here about what went wrong, but really from an X's and O's standpoint, what was Boston really struggling to do in the opening and closing minutes of this game that really cost them?
Well, take care of the basketball for me, because early on in this game, if the Celtics aren't allowing as many transition opportunities as they're allowing and some of the outlet passes off of the rebounds, that's where the Celtics lost this game early, because all of that momentum was shifting towards the Magic. The Magic, it was runouts, easy buckets in transition. And when you get that that early momentum under you, right? And see a couple of buckets go in, especially easy buckets. That's what basketball is partially about, is seeing some of those easy ones go in first, especially in transition, when those are the easiest buckets you can get. You're running in transition and you're ultimately you're getting an almost 60-70% shot at the rim, and it's wide open. The Celtics were giving up a lot of those early, and the defense in general has been just, I don't even know what to say when it comes to the critique, because I just don't think some of these guys own the ability to defend like real NBA defenders, and specifically some of the younger guys, and even all the guys we talk about who with flaws that we know their names. But it's about staying in front of your guy. It's about point of pickup, right? Not allowing players so much space, not allowing players so much space to operate. And tonight, it felt like much of the same. It's been most of the season. It's the Celtics, their point of pickup is always somewhere around the 3-point line. Again, I always go back to OKC because they're the gold standard right now. I always look at the gold standard of the league. OKC, their point of pickup is damn near at the logo. And the Celtics, they're picking up at the 3-point line. And when they do, there's not much physicality. There's not much movement. We saw the last couple of years, Drew Holiday, he showed us how a real defender defends. He clearly, when you look at it on film, it's about creating that wall. It's about creating a bad angle for the player you're going up against, your opponent. Right now, the Celtics defense, the angles, they're not cutting off any angles with their footwork. They're not getting over and cutting off any angles. The driving lanes that the Celtics opponents are seeing are much wider and much easier to get to this season than they've been in seasons in the past. And that's just simply put. That's on the defensive end of the floor. The Celtics, their point of pickup is low. And when they are picking up, they're not exactly staying in front of their guys. Plus, we all know, I mean, there's more weak links to the Celtics defense, just period. That's on the defensive end of the floor. Offensively, though, the Celtics offense just owns no rhythm. Any of the good plays out there, they stem off of random moments of nonsense most of the time where guys find themselves luckily in a spot. I mean, for example, I know I texted this one to the group chat. It was Hugo Gonzalez pump fake from the corner, drive baseline. Great moment right there. But then he gets himself into the air, and you can tell he doesn't exactly know where he's going with the ball. And then boom, Keita pops in his vision in the middle of the lane, flips it to Keita, and Keita in that moment just plays hot potato with it, gives it to Simons for an open three. And that was a good play on the fly. But at each step of that play, I felt as if, okay, that wasn't supposed to happen. That wasn't really supposed to happen in that way. Ugo, you don't really want to be up in the air finding where you're going to throw the ball. And then after that, once you throw the ball to Keita, Keita didn't really own a lane or an open attempt. He was just kind of standing at the free throw line. And then after that, Keita plays hot potato to Simons, and Simons is just standing out there on the perimeter. It's not as if Simons knows, oh, if I'm standing in this particular spot, this ball's supposed to be swung to Keita, who's going to swing it back out to me. It was basically just hot potato until, oh, Simons has the ball, he's wide open, shoots it, makes it. And we look at that play and go, well, that's a good play. But really, it didn't come within the flow of the offense. It wasn't necessarily planned within the offense. Joe Mazzulla didn't write it up on a whiteboard and go, this is what we want. It was just what the Celtics received given the circumstances. And that's a lot of the Celtics offense this year. It's not the Celtics actually manipulating the floor and dictating what's happening. It's the Celtics trying to find anything on the offensive end of the floor. And most of the time, the ball's going through Pritchard's hands. Most of the time, the ball's going through Brown's hands. And both of those guys, they can cook, but they're not necessarily in the same way that we've seen, say, a Tatum in the past or see Jokic across conference. They're not exactly playmaking to the level we want them to playmake at, or at least the fan base wants them to playmake at. Most of their actions are for themselves. It's not necessarily, oh, wow, I'm setting up another guy with, I have intention of setting up another guy with my action. Most of their actions are, their intent is to score. And right. Most of the time, the buckets, I understand Brown's looks, right? Brown, efficient line most of the time. When we're looking at Jaylen Brown's shooting numbers, he's always efficient in making his attempts. But how those attempts are actually coming within the offense, highly questionable. Okay, because most of the time Brown is not catching and shooting. He's not part of that action. And his shots are coming off of these weird contested mid-range attempts. Now you like to see some of the shots around the bucket and some of the open threes he can generate, but even the threes, him and Derek White, quick trigger right away. When they get the ball, they definitely some of their first instinct on some possessions is to hoist that ball towards the rim. And the offense in general just doesn't look like it doesn't really look like it's free flowing the way it should. It doesn't really look like everybody's involved. It looks like Pritchard and Brown are running the show. And once something doesn't happen, if they don't score, if they feel as if they need to get rid of the ball, they'll get rid of it. And off of that, there aren't many secondary actions. It looks right now similar to how the Clippers looked in the playoffs last year, where you have Harden and Kawhi just going ISO against everybody. And then, oh, last second, Derek Jones. Oh, last second, Zubac. Oh, last second, Norman Powell. That's what it feels like right now. Oh, last second Minot. Oh, last second Keita. Oh, last second Simons, or whoever's standing out on the 3-point line. Any of those guys. And the flow of the offense doesn't look great. And then defensively, just getting picked apart. And it's going to be much of the same conversation for a lot of the season, which leads us probably into another category later on in time, as I'm sure we'll talk about.
Well, I'll tell you what, it doesn't feel like it. That's what it is. Right there, I mean, there is no offensive fluidity at all. There is nothing happening from an X's and O's standpoint. It looks like when you go to the rec and you get 5 random guys, and you know that, okay, I come here a lot. We play a lot with this group. I know you two on my team are the best. I'll be a spacer. You guys kind of work. Okay. But it looks random. It looks like they don't play with each other. It looks like there's no offensive scheme. And 10 games in here, Seamus, I'll be 100% honest with you. I'm out on Missoula. I'm out on Missoula, and I'm out on Missoula ball. I'm sorry, but the fact there's a difference, right? There is a difference between being 4-6 with a clear direction, in a clear scheme, in a clear offensive look. And then there's a direction of being 4-6, right? On the other hand, and looking like you have no idea what you're doing out there. Right now, I already mentioned the lineups earlier. What was up with Simons tonight? Why did he not play randomly for the first half of this game? And you look at stuff like that, and you look at the inability to realize how putrid and how unplayable a guy like Sam Hauser is right now. And you see that, and you see stuff like, should Peyton Pritchard really even be starting? You see decisions like this that Joe Mazzulla is making, and you start to scratch your head, and you start to say, is this really the guy we want coaching a basketball team that is not a top 10 team all time, that doesn't have talent, 1 through 6 that is all-star level? I mean, it really poses that question. That is where I'm at. That is the first person I'm looking at. Is this Celtics team top of the Eastern Conference good? No. Top of the league good? No. Are they 4-6 bad? Absolutely not. They are playing down. They are not playing to the ability in which I believe they can be playing at. This is a team that should be absolutely able to handle Utah at home. This should be a team that when you're down 2 points in the fourth quarter, you should absolutely be able to hang on and keep this a close-knit game. This is a team that has the talent to do these things, but they're not. Why? Because there is no offensive identity. They continue to run and gun. They continue to play sloppy. They continue to isolate. They continue to do it. And Seamus, again, you look at, what did I tell you guys? We talked about this. We talked about this the other night. The 3-point numbers. Tonight they were down, right? Boston actually did a lot of good. That is why they were able to take the steps they were through those 2 quarters. They were not just hucking up threes. And then what happens towards the end of the game? They look lost. They look confused. They're turning the ball over. There is no offensive rhythm there's no offensive scheme put in place. And I don't know about you, Seamus, but it poses the question. It poses the tank question. It does. And it also poses, before we talk about that, I need to hear your quick opinion on Missoula first. And then 2 is, are we heading towards a take? And I know that might be crazy. We might be jumping the gun here.
Well, I don't think it's jumping the gun at all. First of all, Missoula, the jury is still out, in my opinion, because Joe Mazzulla has coached nothing but great rosters, as you mentioned. And to me, the Celtics organization, this is where I feel as if maybe some of the the championship tenure is maybe hurting the Celtics in time, because beforehand it was all about making the correct moves in order to win a championship. And it was very cutthroat. It was, if this player isn't, I mean, we saw Marcus Smart, he was here for 9 years, a pillar of the Celtics, yet knowing his inefficiencies, the Celtics moved on from him and upgraded to Kristaps Porzingis, in which led the Celtics to eventually win the championship. Well, Joe Mazzulla, he was a beneficiary of that championship run. At the same time, now he owns the reputation of coaching a championship level team, but is the substance there? Because we knew that team was good, and that team was good before Joe Mazzulla even arrived in the building. Think about it. The Celtics saw success with Brad Stevens, saw success with Ime Udoka, and even Joe Mazzulla when won the championship. But now, I don't think the Celtics are going to get rid of Mazzulla this year at any point. And even next offseason, you could say probably not, considering there's going to be a bunch of excuses given about the season. Oh, the roster. Oh, we didn't have a center. Tatum was out. I mean, Tatum out. Tatum's absence, that will be the biggest excuse. It'll be, well, I mean, what can you do when you have $50 million worth of salary not on the floor for you? What can a coach really do? But right now, I do believe we're seeing a lot of the. I don't want to say. I'm trying to find the right word for this, but it's. Oh, here's Andrew as he appears.
What's up, guys?
Welcome to the show, Andrew Quinn.
How we doing? That was definitely a rough game. I know the go-to, so I'll quickly give the initial thoughts. I don't want to interrupt where you guys.
No, we're on the Mazzulla. We're on the Mazzulla.
You're on the Mazzulla train right now.
I had to rant.
Yeah, that's understandable. I get it.
But you came just in time.
I did come just in time. I get it though.
Conversation.
Mazzulla it's a tough one right now, and you know where you went with a team that is not as talented, that's not as good in past seasons. It does fall a little more on the coach because you can't hide behind them, right? And it's how do you put your guys in the best situations to succeed? And I understand, and I know, I don't know, me personally, I don't know if Simons, if there was a Malcolm Butler situation with Simons or whatever, but he didn't get those minutes early on, but then
that's where my brain went to during the game too. I thought of that.
Was Simons out late last night in Orlando, or did he take a trip over to Miami,
Home State,
and go out to the clubs? I don't know, but
Home State got all his homegirls.
Right, Home State. He's getting a little cozy. He's comfortable. I won't go into anything else, but let's just say I don't know why Simons didn't get those minutes. And when it comes down to it, the guy that's subbing in, like Simons, is the coach, and he obviously found a way to succeed later on. And we can go into why he didn't get those minutes, but I agree. I don't know exactly what you said, so I'll let you go.
We got 3 guys that play basketball, right? Not just watch basketball, but play basketball. Andrew, you play at a higher level than me and Seamus, right? But all 3 of us at some point of our lives played competitive level of basketball.
Right.
Let's not sugarcoat this. Like, it's bad basketball. The standpoint in which the Celtics are playing right now is just bad basketball. Like, it is sloppy and is just bad. So it's like, I mean, am I nuts? Like, even if you go back to the last season, it was just bad. It's like, I refuse to believe a mind like Brad Stevens, probably the best basketball mind in the in the front office, can't look at this and be like, yeah, that's bad. Like, if I can see it, it's like, it's just bad ball. And if you, in my head, if you rationalize it as Mazzulla ball, no, this works. No, this works. When it hits, it hits. It's like, no, you're coping. You are coping. You are blind. You are coping because it's just Mazzulla ball is bad basketball. And I will say this on Mazzulla ball, my last thing I'll have to say, and then you guys can take the floor with this because I don't want to rant. But when it works, it looks really pretty. It looks really pretty. And they had the talent to make it work enough, right? And again, the threshold when they were playing bad with all that talent last year, their floor was still so high because they were so good. Mm-hmm. Now you have a team where the talent, if you're not playing well, it's bottom. It's crappy, right? So now it's like when Mazzulla ball works, beautiful. It looks really pretty. It looks like how it looked in the second half against Washington, or it looks like how it looked against Cleveland, right? Woohoo! But when it doesn't work, it's the most god-awful, putrid product of basketball you'll see. And I think what you're going to see this year, guys, is it's probably going to work, 2 out of 10 games where it's like, oh, yeah, that works. Like, it's just bad basketball. As Nick, and I'll before we go anywhere, we got the fourth and final member of the crew tonight, Nick Franco, joining us.
There you go.
Well, there goes the Celtics. Probably only chance at winning a cup or championship this year.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
do you count Summer League next year, or is that connected to next season?
Yeah, that's one other realm.
Or are we beyond? We beyond that?
I mean, was probably game number 10. Unfortunately, looking at the outcome for the rest of the season, this was probably one of the more important games on the Celtics schedule in the regular season, because with the lack of Jason Tatum, the expectations, as we have talked about in almost every single one of our programs, have been minimized to hopefully being in the playoff picture, not being in the championship window or contention. We are now looking at a team that is hoping to take any win they can, wherever they can get it. And I think that this was a opponent that Orlando is going to be a team that we're going to end up facing off with in numerous occasions throughout the season, and are a team that is going to be on the uprise, evening out the standings. I believe the Celtics, or I believe the Magic, have one more loss than the Celtics right now after tonight's win. But I think that going forward, the Boston Celtics or the Orlando Magic are going to get themselves back into the playoff window and meet the expectations that we set before the season began when we were looking at this team. And rough loss for the Boston Celtics. I mean, to talk about tonight's game, this was a game the Celtics never really had any control of, and the offensive and the personnel and talent of the Orlando Magic just shined through, and they were able to take full advantage of the Boston Celtics defensive lapses, and were able to create a 17-4 stretch in the fourth quarter, which separated the game and put the Celtics out of the game. And this is a series where the NBA Cup is something where you want to have any point you can, and there is a point system, and the matters between wins and losses are in effect, but the point differential will break the tiebreakers. So, and taking a loss by 13 points is a challenging type of situation, but I think that the team just was lacking the talent to be able to keep up, and the endurance of this team. We saw some glimmers of hope from Jaylen Brown with another performance that was notable, 32 points, and being able to get out this win was would have been a necessary thing if the Celtics wanted to keep those hopes alive of NBA Cup. But
well, before you guys joined, me and Seamus were, about to get into this concept. And again, if we're too early on this idea, let us know. Let me know. Let the people know. But are the Celtics 10 games in? Are we inching or heading, diving, maybe you want to call it, towards a tank?
First of all, folks, did I never leave?
No, you're hanging
sorry.
around.
Well, my entire production, we almost had a camera die out here. We almost had a camera die And you guys were all robots. And I was like, oh, I'm for sure just exiting the screen. I have no idea. But anyway, since we're back on this conversation, I believe the Celtics should 100% consider to tank right now because this season means nothing. Okay, right now this season means absolutely nothing. From a competitive standpoint, what do the Celtics want to get trounced in the first round by this Orlando Magic team, the way the Magic did last year, and make the play-in, and oh, we have the 16th overall pick. Great. What is that going to do for when Tatum comes back? Do we need another Shireman? I mean, clearly not. For me, it's about picking a direction. Right now, the Celtics own no direction. Simons, I'm sorry, this man's a talented player, and they're neutering him. This is ridiculous. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous that they're keeping Simons on the bench and going, well, you're $27 million and you probably won't be here past the trade deadline. So, we'll just sit you down and you're not going to be a part of the main rotation. What are we doing? That's not competing. That's not competing whatsoever. And really, it's, to me, I need to see a definitive direction. I think Simons is gone near the end of rather not the end of the season, but in the middle of the season. If you're not playing him at all and you're thinking, oh, 27 million and Pritchard does the same thing he does. And then furthermore, the direction, right there, right now, the Celtics are not that far away from becoming truly one of the worst teams in the NBA. They already, at this point in time, own a 4-6 record. They can't pull out close games. The offense doesn't own any flow whatsoever. Defensively, there's not elite defenders on the floor. A lot of young guys out there. A lot of it's Jaylen Brown. If you take out Jaylen Brown and Peyton Pritchard, I mean, this team is easily on the same par as you start talking about the Washington Wizards, the Brooklyn Nets. All of a sudden, the Celtics are not that far away, and I think they've actually positioned themselves to put themselves in that category in the middle portion of the season. Maybe say around game 40, 41, in the middle of the season in January, are the Celtics looking and going, okay, yeah, we're maybe 5, 6, 7 games under 500 right now, maybe even more so. Do the Celtics at that point? Right now, the Celtics are 2 games under 500, so all of a sudden this rope is going. I mean, the rope's going on the under 500 mark, but the Celtics halfway through the season, what they would need to do, all right, ship off Simons. Are you going to get anything for him for his expiring contract? Brown, it's sprained ankle, 2 weeks. Pritchard, wrist, 2 weeks. Things like that. I'm not advocating fully for the Celtics to just sit everybody right away. But as the season goes along, the Celtics must pick a direction. They cannot sit in this mediocre state while Tatum rehabs, because that does nothing for the team. Right now, what the team should ultimately focus on is developing the young talent and then picking a direction which says we're going after this and making this season go this direction. Because there is a world in which the Celtics say potentially they actually put up a mark the next couple games. Say they go 5-0, and then all of a sudden they're over 500. Could they go on a run and make themselves a top 6 seed and put themselves in a position where Tatum comes back? Sure. But on a night like tonight, when you're not playing Boucher, you're not playing Simons, the entire offense looks completely discombobulated, and defensively, everyone looks like traffic cones. Well, that Tatum scenario is not coming forth. It's not.
Do you think they're already? Do you think they're already
on the horizon?
Tanking? Do you think they're already tanking? Because they didn't play Simons early, they didn't play Boucher.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like, well, at this point, you might as well just blow the season, because we're doing nothing. Like, Simons and Boucher, 2 offseason additions, aren't playing.
And it's not
for what reason?
Yeah, it's not
this
like
team is. I'm sorry. I hate. We always. It's like, you don't want to use the word sucks, but this team kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not.
Just tell it how it is.
I think that is something.
It's like, why aren't guys playing? Like, nobody owns it. Like, oh no, we need minutes for Gonzalez and Garza. It's like, yeah, we should try to develop those guys, but to me, it's like, okay, you have to pick a direction. Are you developing the young guys? Okay, then sit Simons and Boucher. If you're going to develop the young guys, you're essentially tanking at that moment in time. But then the other side of it is, if you're going to compete, play those guys and figure out what exactly the rotation looks like with them. It's not what we're seeing right now.
It's too early for that in my head, though, because, again, I'm not going to justify. I don't think it's that the Celtics are trying to, develop the young players. I just think it's Joe Mazzulla doesn't know what the hell he's doing with not playing Boucher and not playing Simons. I think he is in over his head, one, because you're 10 games in. We're not in tanking tear. We have 72 more games to play. This team could easily randomly, not easily, but they go 20, 50 and 22 the next. That's how many more games is left. The whole 2021, 2022 or 2020, 2021 season is ahead of the Celtics, right? They technically have a full season worth of games left. And let's not call for it is. That's not what's happening, right? Simons isn't playing 18 minutes and Boucher's not playing because the Celtics no, let's develop the youth. Because Joe Mazzulla doesn't know what the hell he's doing out there right now. And the Celtics don't have a direction. So I do believe they have till Christmas. I'll say that. They have till Christmas. I think that the 30-game mark, the 25-game mark, I've said it time and time again, that's when you're going to know, is this team good enough to even try and go for something this year? Because Seamus, I agree. Being 41-40 or 40-42 is going to get you nowhere. It is going, I get it. You'll get Tatum back next year. Maybe you add a depth piece at pick 15, and maybe you're playing with something next year. Those are all maybes. Don't do that to yourself. Position yourself next year to hit the ground running. The second you get your all-NBA first-team guy back, you are ready to compete when he's ready to compete. I hate to even talk about it right now. And Franco, I know you're sitting there with your hands like the Arthur meme right now because you are so anti-tanking, but it's like it feels like that might be 30, 35, 40 games in where we're sitting in there. We're 5, 10, 6, 7 games under 500. And it's like, this is what we have to do. And Brad pulls the trigger at the deadline, ships Hauser off for a couple picks or a pick, ships Simons off for a couple picks or a young player. And that's what we're sitting at.
Yeah. I know Franco's going to go. I'll go real quick before, so I don't interrupt you. I know you're getting fired up over there. But I will say, in some ways, I am anti-tanking, not in the fact of, oh, we're just going to throw games and we're just going to, not even start our stars like that. Like, I do think in some ways, though, it's important for the Celtics to continue to just try to win games and play basketball with the mentality that we're going to go out there, we're going to win, because tanking is not going to get Jordan Walsh or these young players the opportunity to grow. You still want to grow in an environment that is pushing you, that's making you work hard, that is setting standards as a Celtics organization. And I know their Celtics are going to do that no matter what. But when the conversation comes around with tanking, I think of teams like Washington, I think of teams like Brooklyn who just throw their hands up in the air, X and O's out. I don't care how you guys play, just go out there and play basketball. If the Celtics are looking next year to be a winning team and compete next year when Tatum comes back, you still have to build these habits with, say, guys like Minot, say guys like Walsh that are going to play, say guys that you've added on this team that you're trying to acclimate into the Celtics, into the Celtics organization, into that playing standard. I think you still have to hold that. And I know you can have two in the same. You could still tank and still do that, but I don't know if you can if you're not competing day in and day out, no matter what the circumstance is.
You can't afford to. Where is it? I don't even have a appropriate sound effect on my soundboard for what is about to come in here. But Boston, after this loss, is in a tough position, and it's game 10. I mean, there is a lack of confidence within the roster amongst the crew in general. And I mean, I've had these glaring issues, and it's honestly one of those things that is such a glaring issue. I see this as such a simple fix that almost not a simple fix, because any roster adjustment is challenging, bringing in new players, taking players out of the roster and changing within that standpoint. But we all understood that this was going to be a temporary look for this roster. Opening day this opening day team is not going to look almost anywhere near what the Celtics rotation is going to look like in game 82 of this season. I think there is going to be changes, and there's also a glaring number 0 who, other than the reports there, if this team is in a position where they can, if you are in the play-in and you have number 0 on the court, all bets are off, and you are in a position where you are back in contention with anyone in the East and are capable of winning an Eastern 7-game series. And I think that just making proper roster adjustments with this team, Naz Reid would be one that I'm looking at. I mean, I've kind of, what did I just throw out Naz Reid's name like that? Who knows? But looking at what this team needs is going to be a trade, and going to probably involve Anthony Simon, Sam Hauser, and are the most likely candidates, and because of their glaring roster issues where they fit into this roster, obviously sitting out on a game like tonight and not moving forward with that. But I think that getting these two in a trade value with it, bringing in additional talent. We've seen Jaylen Brown is more than capable of producing for this team. It's just a matter of getting the right guys around him. And I think that they are going to be able to make these types of adjustments through personnel changes. So I'm hoping that we're looking at a team that is a lot different, and I don't think that we have to wait until the trade deadline. I think that making a roster adjustment earlier, closer to December, obviously there's signing restrictions with a lot of these players, a lot of contract restrictions, the 60-day contract limitations. So I think that getting these movements as soon as we can done, just so we can get these players in place. But it's just been an incomplete team, and tanking, I don't see that in this team's culture. And honestly, something that Joe Mazzulla can't afford on his on his uh, resume moving forward. Joe Mazzulla can't afford this
You
on
have
his
to play some
resume.
poker games.
Hey, putting all the cards on the table. But yeah, Joe Mazzulla can't afford this on his resume moving forward. I think that they need to build accordingly, and also Brad Stevens. Any year taken off is not just going to disappear in the mix of things. This is a blemish within this team's dynasty and what are supposed to be the most prime years of this team's career. Sure, we can put the asterisk next to James' injury, but in the history books and on the championship trophy, it doesn't matter. You are supposed to be competing at 100% and also trying to put out the best productive roster possible. So I we're seeing a lot of hope out of these younger players, and Minot, Hugo Gonzalez, Jordan Walsh now, and has started
Let's
to.
not get fooled here with Walsh.
I know.
Let's
See a little bit
here.
more.
Hey,
No, yeah, you definitely gotta push him
we
along.
got 72 more games of judgment, or who
Right.
knows what happens with the trade deadline. But with these players, we're starting to see a lot of promise out of these younger players, and that's exactly what we're looking for. And continue to give these guys those rotation minutes. But guess what? That's finding a easy way for these veterans to find a way out. And I don't think the Boston Celtics are sitting around trying to accumulate draft picks. I think they're trying to win games.
I do think the weird situation Boston falls into, and I agree. I think taking you set a risky precedent within the culture. I got two examples. I'll just drop them real quick. The Golden State Warriors, no Steph Curry, no Klay Thompson. They decided, okay, let's lose some games. Let's regroup. They ended up getting Jordan Poole. They ended up getting Andrew Wiggins within that regroup. And they ended up winning an NBA championship. Look at the Philadelphia 76ers. Last year, no Embiid, no Paul George. That was a mess. What they say, okay, let's lose some basketball games here. Let's get the balls bouncing our way. The balls bounce their way. And what happens? VJ Edgecombe. They find a diamond in the rough. So, while I agree, I believe honestly there is no right or wrong answer here within the tank job. I just think this is such a unprecedented situation Boston falls into, with Jason Tatum being out most likely all season, that you can still maintain that healthy culture that is the Boston Celtics. The second number 0 steps back on the court. And I do believe that what's most important here, there's two things. One, Seamus, you said it. That's finding a direction. And two, Franco, you said it, I think. And Andrew, you also said this. Keeping the established culture that is the Boston Celtics. Don't lose your identity. Don't, purposely blow these games. Go out there and compete. But I do believe Brad Stevens might make it so that in the process of them competing, they just aren't winning any games. That doesn't mean you're not competing. Doesn't mean you're not taking steps. Doesn't mean you're not progressing as a team. It just means that the roster out there is not very good. So, with that, though, one player that we need to talk about, because in my opinion, it was potential make or breaker of the night, guys, Anthony Simons. The Celtics, they move on from Drew Holiday. They bring back Anthony Simons on the 1-year expiring contract, and it feels like, that's the hope. That is the one big ticket item the Celtics got this offseason. He's the guy that can potentially be a 25-point per game scorer. He's 26. It's going to be great. Mini Dame. This is awesome. We have a guy to put next to Jaylen Brown who can score the basketball at a high level. Yeah, well, guys, that guy this season so far has been coming off the bench and did not see the floor in the second half, midway through the first, second, and half, I believe all of the third, or halfway through the third in this game. He ended up putting up a stellar night tonight, guys. With that, where are we at with Anthony Simons, guys? Because are the Boston Celtics destroying their chances of getting any value back from Simons this deadline?
I don't
Likely
think
so.
that. No, I don't think that this is a blemish on either. So with these players, I'm sorry to take the floor again, but with Sam Hauser and Anthony Simons, with these two players, I don't think that any lack of production is at fault of any personal skill level, any type of lack of value within their game. I think that they both serve at the same value as they did going into the season. Sam Hauser and Anthony Simons are two players that could serve very well on a contending roster and could be a missing piece to one of these contending teams. But on this Boston Celtics roster, it is obvious that they are not fitting in very well with the scheme and are also not in the book moving forward for the Celtics game plans and with their core.
Simons right now, I just don't understand the direction with him whatsoever. It feels as if the Celtics looked at the Drew Holiday transaction and went, well, Simons is the best thing we could get for Drew Holiday. Send it through. We save money and we'll figure it out later. Well, now that later has come around, what exactly is the direction with Anthony Simons? He's not as much of a primary piece as he should be within the Celtics team. His role off the bench, he's not been this spark plug, sixth man of the year type of player like Pritchard was last year for that Celtics team. Completely different Celtics team that was. And now we're heading into a world where the Celtics might have to flip Anthony Simons at the deadline and his $27 million because he's on an expiring and he's going to be a free agent in the summer of 2026. It's possible the Celtics let him run the whole season and try to re-sign him in the offseason and can't. That's completely plausible right now. Or it's plausible too, the Celtics trade Anthony Simons for nothing at the deadline because either number one, teams don't really see real value in him or trading for that contract, which is completely possible because to me, why is a team going to trade for a $27 million expiring contract if that player is not going to give you anything tangible on court to win in the playoffs and then furthermore could leave from your team in the offseason? About as simple of an equation as that is. for teams looking at Simons. Why would they trade for? I mean, you have to. I mean, a lot of teams are cash strapped nowadays with the second apron and the
Hell of a
restrictions in which
rental.
come with all the aprons. Why would teams go out and shell out $27 million worth of salary to go get Anthony Simons, who could leave? I mean, they would have to know Anthony Simons is coming back on this X dollar, and there's no guarantee of that
Because
whatsoever.
there's
And
dumber money out there.
it's hard to say what Simons could demand on the market during the summer, I will say, which will let. Okay, Rob pops back in here. I was like, all right, do I need to make the
my
move?
audio cut out. I was like, what's going on?
But at least your camera didn't die. I don't know. Hey, mine didn't either. Mine didn't either earlier. But the Celtics are in a position with Simons where you either should ultimately, that's where I don't think the Celtics are doing all they can to win games. Right now, it feels like the tenure and the future matters more. It's the past and the future that matters more than the present right now, because the present says Simons and Boucher, those are two guys you added over the offseason. Those two guys contributed to real NBA teams, whether it was the Raptors or the Blazers, real rotations before they actually arrived in Boston. Meanwhile, the Celtics are saying, or rather, Missoula and the coaching staff, Simons, you're going to take a backseat to Pritchard, who's been here forever and who also could be here longer than you. I mean, that's what it feels like the dynamic is between Pritchard and Simons. Feels like Simons doesn't get the opportunity over Pritchard because Missoula in the front office and everyone knows Simons probably won't be here long term. But that's what it feels like from that standpoint. And that's why it also just it doesn't feel as if the Celtics are entirely doing everything they need to do in order to win. They're not using one of their prime off-season additions in Anthony Simons right now the way that it feels like he should be used. And furthermore, he's on that $27 million expiring. Again, what are teams trading at the deadline for that $27 million expiring? I would like to know exactly. Now, we don't know. We won't know until that number comes out via a Shams tweet next offseason. But what does Simons actually receive on the market during the summer? Could it be a situation where the Celtics go, we're biting the bullet with this contract, he's going to be here all season, and we think we can re-sign him in the offseason? Or is it really going to get to a point where the Celtics
They
feel
thought
as
that
if
he would
he's
be
only a
playing.
$10 million player, and maybe he's going to demand 20 from another team who's randomly going to pay him over the offseason, which I find hard to believe, but you never know. Players out there and who knows which GM and who every owner and GM likes out there. But it's possible the Celtics could lose Simons for nothing. And if that's going to be the case, they're trying to ship him out at the deadline. What does that exactly do for the Celtics? I mean, right now, might as well play him. If you're going to ship him out at the deadline, you might as well try to boost his value right now. Teams are looking at Simons going, he's playing off the bench. He's not doing anything off the bench. Why would we ever consider trading for him? And why would we ever consider him to be a guy that would be a missing piece for our team, especially a playoff team out there? A playoff team would be the only team giving up real assets for Simons because they're in real need of a guard. But that's the thing is Simons is not a type of a guard that teams really need, and his contract doesn't really match with what teams could give up for him. Right? If you're looking, oh, let's consolidate some players or let's give away this $20 million player, is that going to cause that team to be worse without X player or XY player for Simons? So this Simons, I want to call it a debacle because it is. Right now, he's not producing for the team. He's coming off the bench. It feels like his role is heavily minimized from where it could be on this team. He's been a number one option for the Blazers for years. It's crazy where he is right now on the Celtics team. And then when you're looking at the future, it doesn't feel like the Celtics have a plan in place. They're not playing Simons. Is he going to demand anything at the deadline? Is he going to re-sign over the summer? Doesn't feel like the Celtics own much of a plan with Simons. We're going to see a resolution eventually on Simons, whether he's traded at the deadline, whether the Celtics start playing him, he starts producing, or he's not producing, the Celtics never trade him and he walks for nothing, or the Celtics do re-sign him. But at this point in time, the future looks very murky. The past, it feels like, yes, the Celtics are allowing guys of the past. Oh, Pritchard, Brown, you guys clearly own the hierarchy here. And then also the future of, well, when Tatum comes back, Pritchard's making $7 million. Simons, we don't even know if he's going to be back on another contract with the Celtics. Therefore, they're not playing. Just doesn't match. And it definitely goes back to the point of the Celtics saw Anthony Simons out there, 26-year-old guard, $27 million contract expiring. Drew Holiday's money in the futures, $37 million 3 seasons from now, much older player. Felt like at the time, okay, this makes total sense if you're the Celtics, but now there's not a tangible plan in place for what exactly the Anthony Simons experience is going to end in.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're not utilizing him for the long run. They're not acclimating Anthony Simons into this offense. It's Anthony Simons go out there and shoot. I mean, really, that's a lot of these players right now. But it's like, yeah, go out there. You're going to play off ball. When you're open, shoot it. We'll run you off the screen. Boom. I'll tell you what, it doesn't look like they're using them for the short term, right? They're not starting them. They're not playing them 40 minutes a game just to, showcase what he can do. So it's like, what exactly is the roadmap with Simons? It's confusing.
He might be the second best offensive player on the team, and we're just refusing to put the ball in his hands consistently. And I feel like that is, it's part of the product of Brown and Pritchard together and those guys becoming the main offensive contributors. But this is where the 10-year, I'm just going to keep explaining. I'm going to keep talking about it. Just feels like Simons is not going to get his opportunity because Pritchard's making $20 million less and he's been here longer, and he might be here longer into the future. And that's where it goes into the tanking conversation of what are we even doing this season if we have a player on our roster that could help us win, help the Celtics win, yet we're not going to utilize him to help us win because of what the future could behold. If we're going to be thinking about the future in that regard, then why not just start to maneuver in a way in which, and I'm not for tanking. I don't think teams ever really tank when it comes to just, we're trying to lose. It's Jaylen Brown's going to miss extended time randomly, and Pritchard's going to miss extended time, and he's got a sore back, and near the end of the season, I'll rotate. It's like a night like tonight. Boucher and Simons, you're going to sit down on the bench, and we're going to watch Walsh, and Minot's look great. You can't even really bash Minot. You can't bash Walsh either. You can't really bash the young guys, but feels like, some of the more inexperienced players are getting a run over more experienced guys like Simons and Boucher when it feels as if they should be way more involved, especially considering, look at the preseason. Simons in the preseason had himself a couple of nice games. So did Boucher after the initial onset of the preseason. Where's that been in the regular season? Where's Boucher been in the regular season? I don't understand what the goal of the team is right now. And that's why it goes down to the conversation of just pick the direction of developing young talent, sitting the talent in which is already here that we know is going to be here next year, and maybe try to make one's way into a position where the Celtics is not only about the player of the Celtics could draft, it's the asset. Okay, if you're the 20th pick, nobody wants the 20th pick. If you have the 9th pick, you have the 8th pick, you're all of a sudden talking. You're on the phone. And it's not just 20th pick. What can we really do with that? Who's going to be there? Then you start to get into the conversation of top 10 pick. The whole asset pool changes for the C's.
Well, that will be a great look for Bill Chisholm in his first year as the owner. You think that's what he wants in his first year? I mean,
what if this is the Chisholm curse?
Don't even.
This would be the beginning of it. So
come on now, Seamus. Come on now.
Put that out there in the universe.
Wick's still here.
Don't even put that out in the universe.
They gave him 4 studs each of the severance package.
The Celtics, they're going to be back at it against Orlando on Sunday in a little 2-game mini series. So, looking ahead at this game, it poses a question too, because there are some questions on Orlando now. This was a test for Boston. This is also a test for Orlando. So guys, is Orlando going to be the team that we predicted them to be? And looking ahead at this Sunday matchup, could this game maybe be a benchmark matchup for either team? And what should we expect and look forward to at this game on Sunday?
Can I update people real quick? NBA Cup, just saying, real quick, because we did have a couple games go final here. So right now, East Group B standings after this Friday in Orlando. So East Group B, in which the Celtics are involved in right now, and I believe you'll see them coming by the bottom of the screen here, but the East Group B standings, Detroit, they beat Brooklyn tonight by 18 points, 125-107. So Detroit is on the top of the group right now, at the top of the group, 1-0 plus 18 point differential. The point differential, very key here, along with the record. You want to win games, but the point differential afterwards. Orlando in second, their point differentials at 13 after winning tonight, 123-110 against the Celtics. They're at 1-0. The Celtics, they're the only team in the group who's played 2 NBA Cup games so far. They're 1-1. They're at a -12, however, a -12 point differential after tonight. +1 coming into today, lost the game by 13. As we see, the Sixers, they didn't play this Friday on the NBA Cup schedule. They're 0-1 still, -1, -1 from last Friday. And then the Brooklyn Nets, well, they're 0-1 and they're a -18 right now, -18 in point differential. So that's how the East Group B shakes out. The Nets, of course, losing to the Pistons tonight. So just to update people on the NBA Cup standings. But as for the Celtics' second matchup against the Magic on Sunday, what would be nice to see is the Celtics actually taking advantage of the extra opportunities they're gaining, because most games this season, the Celtics are actually putting themselves in great positions to win games. If you look at all the counting stats, I mean, just for tonight, for example, right? I've been talking about the field goal attempts for the Celtics lately. Tonight, the Celtics take 95 field goal attempts to the Magic's 82. So 13 more field goal attempts for the Celtics tonight than the Magic. Yet the Celtics only make 2 more shots. They make 43 shots. The Celtics, or rather, the Magic make 41. So in those extra 13 attempts, the Celtics technically shot 2 of 13 in those extra attempts. So the Celtics are generating those extra looks, but they're not converting on them as efficiently as their opponent. And this also goes to the 3-point line. Tonight, the Celtics take 1 more 3 than the Magic, yet make 4 less. They shoot 13 of 37 from the 3-point line, the Celtics do, and the Magic shoot 17 of 36. And the huge discrepancy tonight, free throw category, 11 of 16 for the Celtics. For the Magic, 24 of 31. So on Sunday, the keys are here. I mean, the 3-point line and the free throw line. And part of it is defense. A lot of it is defense. Tonight, the Magic, they shoot 17 of 36 from the 3-point line. That can't happen on Sunday if the Celtics want to win a game. And then free throw wise, the Magic take nearly double the amount of free throws the Celtics actually take tonight. They take 31 to the Celtics 16. The Celtics, part of that equation, part of why the free throw discrepancy has been there. It's not because, the refs and the Celtics don't have as many star players with Jason Tatum out. It's because the Celtics, when they're getting downhill, they're typically stopped somewhere around the free throw line or just inside the free throw line. And they're taking these weird mid-range shots. They're dumping off passes. They're just not getting to the rim. Meanwhile, on the other end of the floor, the Celtics are allowing guys to go around them, giving up those angles that I talked about earlier. And their opponent, the Celtics' opponent, is actually getting to the rim a lot easier than the Celtics, which will over time amount in more free throw attempts. So that's going to be a key on Sunday, along with the whole perimeter play. But this is a game tonight the Celtics were competitive in down the stretch, completely let the rope go in 2 quarters, that first quarter, then late in the fourth quarter. The Celtics can just minimize those moments. As we've said, they can win some games. Okay. They've been in a lot of games, but now it's just about winning them. And Sunday will be a perfect opportunity to avenge what is ultimately a bad one on this Friday night.
Yeah. This next game, what I'm looking forward to and something that I think that we need to improve upon, and I'm not going to take all the credit for this take. My boy Tommy's been coming on the podcast and been giving some great takes. He mentioned that the Celtics gave up like 14 points off of extra points, like in the first half, off of extra opportunities, right? And you give a team early on those extra chances, you give a team easy buckets, easy opportunities at the rim to catch rhythm, to kind of get that momentum flowing. That's a recipe for disaster, because now you got guys that are hitting their shots, seeing the ball go through the hoop, allowing them to continue to have that momentum throughout the entire game, right? And that's something we can't have. So I'd like to see this next game, the Celtics set the tone. They start off hot. They play good defense. They hit some of their shots, and they really start the game off with a little more energy and take control from the jump. That's what I'd like to see, because I think we get down really early and then we get tired, and then late game, it's kind of hard for us to crawl back. We need to be the ones that are in the driving seat majority of the game.
This could be Orlando's real moment to stomp on the Celtics while they're down and stomp on their throat. I think this could really bury the Boston Celtics and really accelerate the Orlando Magic if they are able to get some momentum off this 2-game stretch. And I also think that this is a real momentum killer whenever the Celtics got themselves back around 500, and it will really start to cement that mediocre pattern that we're going to see from the Boston Celtics continue going forward with this roster, and the winning two games on and losing the next two, winning one game, losing the next, and vice versa, so on and so forth. And with this team going into a matchup with the Orlando Magic, this is a team that, as the Celtics were able to get the best of the Orlando Magic during last year's first round, they were a team that we raised our eyebrows at and understood that this was a team that was right in the Boston Celtics rearview mirror, and now they are almost, well, at this point where their roster stands, they are in a much better chance of contention within the Eastern Conference than the Boston Celtics are until Jason Tatum is back on the court and we see the necessary roster reconstruction necessary for when that happens. And we are looking for almost, I don't know if a win here would be the Celtics bouncing back, or would be the Celtics taking on a identity and also being able to build off of it, or will it be more of the same? But one thing I do like about this game, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I mean, we're getting another early game. That's the one thing that is good about these Sunday games. I wake up early.
You know what else I like too, actually, is this is a little, back to back. We're getting to see him again. A little baseball series action. It's like playoffs a little where you get to see another team again. I think it'll be exciting to kind of see the Celtics. Hopefully, they come out with a little tenacity, a little intensity, a little aggressiveness where they're pissed off. We just lost to this team. I mean, I don't care. I know tanking is a thing, but deep down,
Not
I'm like,
Boston.
deep down in Boston, it's just not possible. I think there'd be a revolution if you guys asked
Well,
me
Look
to
at my
pick.
damn
You might see
Patriots.
another.
Everybody be
Beat the
watching the
Bills.
revolution.
Beat
We
the
might be
Bills.
in the,
Literally what
we
would
might
be
be in the
happening.
city. We might be.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Yeah,
This is, in my opinion, this could be a pivotal game. You win this, you're back floating at a potential opportunity on Tuesday night to get back to 500. If you lose this, you might spiral. You're 4-7. You just got swept on a 2-game mini series against Orlando. If it looks ugly, you're now really in this loophole of you win 1, you lose 3, you win 1, you lose 3. So Boston needs to come out of the gate firing. They need to be there from the jump. They haven't been the past couple games. They need to come out of the gate. They need to be there. They need to be strong. They need to be on assignment right off from tip. From there, they need to put together 4 cohesive quarters of basketball, of good offense, good defense, translating a good defensive possession with a good offensive possession and vice versa. They need to build a lead. They did a phenomenal job on Paulo Banchero tonight. They need to replicate that. They need to focus on rebounding. Orlando killed them on the glass again tonight with so many second chance opportunities. Boston didn't convert on their second chance opportunities this tonight. They were actually, I believe, I know Seamus sent it you in the group chat. They're 0 for 8 at halftime in their second chance looks. They were just not on the marker tonight. And they need to be, because again, 4-7, you're in very dangerous territory. I know there's a lot of basketball left, but you start off the season that poor. I mean, 4-7 is not a good record. You are, 4 games of winning 4 in a row now to get back over 500 looks like a tough task, and you might just spiral. So I believe this Orlando matchup is going to be very, very important for the Celtics to start maybe building these good habits, building opportunity, and potentially getting above water again, because we have not seen this team above 500 through 10 games. And if you go 4-7, again, I've said it a couple times now, you are playing with fire. I think this is a very, very important game. I need to see the rotations better from Joe. I need to see the offensive production for everyone not named Jaylen Brown, excuse me, to be much better. The Celtics, quite frankly, just need to tighten up. They need to come in more prepared, more game ready on Sunday. Again, Sunday, same day the Pats play the Buccaneers on the road. So it'll be interesting to see where the fan interest is on this Sunday afternoon. Fourth quarter, third quarter of the Pats game. Opening tip for the Celtics game in Orlando. But fans might miss the first half of this one. But regardless, guys, we will have you guys covered back here for Postgame Live, Celtics Talk Weekly Postgame Show after the final buzzer. Guys, I do want to say before we close out the show, if you're not subscribed to us on YouTube, stop what you're doing and hit that subscribe button alongside turning on post notifications. You guys get notified just when we go live. We go live after every single final buzzer in this season, and then many, many more, guys. So again, for tonight, the Celtics, they fall to 101 in the 2025 NBA Cup with a 123-110 loss against the Orlando Magic. Celtics now 4-6 on the NBA season. They'll be back in action this Sunday at 3:30 p.m. tip-off for another matchup in Orlando at the Chase Center against the Orlando Magic. Guys, again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Robbie. Next to me are my co-hosts, Seamus Zarlingo, Andrew Quinn, and Nick Franco, guys. So until Sunday afternoon, you know it. Go Celtics.
We're coming for the free state of Florida.